lately I've been doing a lot of thinking. What about life in general? Have you ever noticed that it's full of possibilities? But the word life itself denotes that. Take away the L, take away the E. What word are you left with? The word if. If. That word implies that anything is possible. I'm beginning to believe that myself, based on everything I've seen over the last 18 months. What all have I seen? I've seen people getting married. I've seen marriages fall apart. I've seen people fall in love. People fall out of love. People move away. People have kids. All that time period. Sometimes as just a passing observer, other times involved. I will admit, when I first came here to Halifax, I was in the frame of mind that everything followed a script. Everything was etched in stone, like the print in this book. Now I'm finding that life is not like the print in this book. One can change that at any time. I just can't help but wonder how I could have been so blind to that fact. Then again, it all comes down to perceptions. People, I notice, myself included, tend to form opinions on stuff. We either love it or we hate it. No middle ground. Take, for instance, myself. Well, I like computers, but I hate Windows. Kind of a Linux geek by definition. What influences my judgment of liking and hating? Using computers again as an analogy, 3 things come to mind when I'm dealing with Windows. Random blue screens whenever I try to do anything, having the computer screw up, and also the fact that it gets viruses. How's that analogy for life? People tend to form opinions based on a similar criteria, like I said, came to computers for me. That person's too loud. That person smells funny. Or that person just doesn't look like what, in my opinion, a person should look like. Or that person's lovely. Or that person's wonderful. That type of criteria. More often than not, when it comes to people, they tend to judge with their own eyes. Most of our hatreds are superficial. It's either that person wears this and such a brand of clothing. I hate that person. That type of stuff. 9 times out of 10 I've observed. Or it's just the way they conduct themselves. Take myself for instance. A large amount of people would probably find me a bit on the creepy side. What way? As Marcus, one of the people that I'm currently working with, tended to point out to me, I notice small things about people, about their mannerisms, and I also can pick up on general vibes on people based on some of their stuff. Say, for instance, when I was at Compy College, whenever I go see Jeff McDougall, who was the head of admissions and that, I knew he was an avid golfer. How did I know? He had a golf club in the corner of the room, along with golfing magazines always on his desk. Remember when I walked into the room and told him that I knew he loved golfing, he was like, gave me the old, okay, how does he know that look? Basically, it all comes down to our perceptions and that, how we go through life. Me, I've been trying to keep active attention on my perceptions and the things that influence my judgment. I've discovered some things that are good about myself and some things that are less than good about myself. Trying to word this as diplomatically as possible. Times I can be a little too much into women, a little too much into computers, and I tend to phrase things very, very badly. And 9 times out of 10, the combination of that usually gets me into a lot of serious trouble. I find that people themselves, like the word life, can easily change their perceptions. Life itself, the word, has a middle word of if in it, which means nothing is static. Anything and everything can change in an instant. Times for the better, other times for the worst. But I'm beginning to believe that's the fun of it. If our lives were like, to use this as a prop again, the print in this book, how bland would that be? Everything following a certain script. Let's see. Jim Bob falls in love with Mary Ellen, for example. Or Jim Bob goes down the road, basically leads a very dull life, becoming a door salesman. Funny thing about life is, Jim Bob, for instance, suddenly develop an urge to go back to school and later become the CEO of a software company, like Microsoft, for example. It all comes down to our perceptions and how we view things, and our opinions and our attitudes that are caused from those perceptions, and how our lives will turn out. One thing that I gotta keep reminding myself, that I think everybody should keep reminding themselves, is the middle word in the word life. When you take away the L, take away the E, you're left with the word if. This is my first stab at doing philosophy on the internet with a webcam. Please be kind with your comments.